Who is it that is telling you that you can't use your voice in as big a way as you are capable? I'm out and about in the world today, going for a walk. It's wet, and partly it's just to get outside and see the lovely autumnal colours that we have. But there's another reason that I'm out in the, nature, is because I've got to record some tracks for a course in video game voiceovers that I'm doing at the moment, and a lot of them, and the one today is about a lot of shouting, like oof, and I feel very self-conscious about doing that at home or in the flat that I'm living in, which is very small, and you can hear things next door, or if you make things loud. And I have always had a big problem with this. And this is one of those things that voice work, I think, is quite good for, providing like workshops and things. One of the big things that we get in those situations is that we get like permission. And although, been doing voice stuff for many years, that's still something that holds me back. So I would like to talk today a little bit about that, about what it is that holds us back, the kind of mental and physical aspects of voice that allow us to be bigger, and how can the voice can kind of help with that. So I grew up, around very noisy people in a pretty much a semi-detached house, but like a detached house, so you couldn't be heard by the neighbours. But my dad, who is a voice actor as well, and there's also a musician and a composer, he has always had problems with sound. So he's lived in a flat. He could be heard by the people downstairs, and for all of my life I know that I have been sort of influenced, I didn't even realise, by the fact that he's always thinking, am I making too much noise? So I know that for me, as part of where I've got this idea that I can't be big and can't make all this noise is that I've sort of inherited it from him. So when I move into flats and things, I make a lot of noise. Normally I sing at the top of my voice, and I sort of shout and make strange sounds. However, whenever I am in fear of being heard by anyone, suddenly I shut down, because there's this idea that there's this other person, these people who are listening to me, and for some reason will be annoyed if I make loads of noise. But we all have things like that. I think everyone has been grown up. There are some people who have never been told to be quiet, and you can tell, and they have this wonderful ability to just go into environments and be big and loud and don't care about how people think about them. And then there are possibly more of us, I don't know, but certainly a lot of us who have these like internal sensors that if we make too much noise, suddenly those internal sensors that we've grown up with kind of jump into action and go, no, we can't be noisy. So that is the kind of, that's what happens to a lot of us. And as you'll notice, that is a mental thing. So these are mental things that are holding us back from fully allowing us to use our voice. And then there are physical aspects. So often when I'm working on voice, we'll be talking about the physical aspects of the kind of tensions that we have in our voice that stop us from being the loudest version of us that we can be. And like, where do those tensions come from? Well, I mean, a lot of the time, sometimes it's just sort of bad, or not having been trained in how to use the muscles of the voice. That's certainly an aspect. But also those comes from those mental blockers. If we have been told to be quiet, we'll kind of like, maybe we'll tense up, or maybe we'll be tense up around our shoulders, and because we're kind of shy and we're trying to be small, and so we pull ourselves in, and then we're not fully using our voice, and then when we try to be big and loud, we go out and we strain because our body's not like set up to be able to do that in the right way. And so these kind of mental and physical aspects work together. So often in releasing the physical aspects of the voice that hold it back through work, we also encounter those mental aspects. So it can be quite kind of, it can be quite releasing for these sort of, I don't know, fear or shame-based dynamics in the body, to just suddenly be released and suddenly be in this space and suddenly be able to go ah! And make a lot of noise, and we hear our voice for the first time being able to make a really, really big loud sound. I will say that what I just made was only about 40% of what I'm capable of, because clearly my brain is still worried about there might be people around it who might hear me. And we hear it at 100%, and we're like, wow, okay, so that's possible. You know, my voice is capable of doing that. And a lot of the times in you know, workshop environments and things where everyone is making lots of loud noise, so we've got a lot of permission to be able to make those noises. Those are those environments where suddenly we unlock something and we're like, okay, this is what's possible. And that's like a gateway has opened for our voice. So that's the physical aspects to voice work, getting enmeshed with all of these mental things that we hold ourselves back with. I think I've covered all 5 topics there. I was going to say, I can't remember what the other one was. Why do they come about? I mean, why do they come about? They come about because in this world we are surrounded by people, and some of those people don't want to hear us at our fullest for whatever reason. You know, maybe they've grown up in an environment where you're not allowed to be very loud, or maybe they see us being the loudest version of ourselves that we can be, and it means that they want to, you know, they see that they want to, but they can't. So then they hold us back, you know, each other, because of that fear that maybe they're capable of being loud as well, you know. That was, yeah. So I'm going to finish this video in a very sort of scrappy way, as these videos are. I've not got a particular call to action. I suppose just find a place where you can be really, really loud, and maybe that's a workshop, maybe that's working with someone. Maybe that's like for me, that was singing. So the first time I ever found a really, really loud version of myself was in singing. In like a band, I think, and I mean I'd sung for many, many years, and I've always been in an environment where I could be loud at home, but like there was like me discovering this came when I was on stage and singing, and suddenly there was this sort of opening of like, oh wow, I can be this loud, you know. So sometimes it's something that's you're doing a different thing and you make a big noise and you're suddenly like, oh okay, this is possible. Yep, subscribe to these this channel if you like it. If you want voice stuff, I'm making a series of videos about voice, very, very scrappy at the moment. And yep, hit the bell icon, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, do whatever you want. Look, that was very well put together. I've not been as clear at the end of my videos in the previous few that I've been doing this week. And then I've messed it up by saying a load of rambly stuff afterwards. Anyway, that is it for the day. Be loud when you can. See you later.